If we live in a place that's negative most of the time, it can almost seem impossible to think differently. And so the thing I ask people to do is to start to get a little bit curious about what's going on when that negative thinking is sort of constantly coming. What's happening? And I don't actually ask people to do anything more than that, but just to get curious and kind of notice and pay attention in a way that's a bit different than they have. And suddenly things will start to emerge where suddenly you realize, oh, actually I'm negative whenever I have a conversation with a certain person, or whenever I hear something on the news, it really triggers me. And by paying attention and noticing that, you can either change those things in your life, or you can actually start to adjust how you think about them. Sometimes it's a coat that you wear that it almost is a bit of a safety net. If you worry about something, then if something bad happens, you would actually be safer. You don't have to actually, you can imagine much worse things that are probably going to happen most of the time. And so being a worrywart is sort of that safe place to be. What I would say to you if you told me you were a worrywart was, is it holding you back? Is there places are you waking up in the night? Are you thinking about things constantly and you can't get out of that? Then it's a problem. And that's where then shifting your thinking to a more positive way is going to make a difference for you. Sometimes negative thoughts are okay because, it spurs you on. Maybe it makes you more goal-oriented, or maybe it makes you get more out of what you're wanting to do in your life because of that negative place you're sitting. But it's when things start to really get in the way, when those negative thoughts start to get in the way of feeling happy or having joy in your life, that's where you want to start to make a shift. And so I would suggest to people who want to make that shift from negative to positive is don't expect to wake up tomorrow super positive, because it's unlikely that's going to happen. Instead, think of it more as a small path that you're taking one step at a time. What's the one thing that I can do tomorrow to be more positive? Maybe it's be kind to somebody else. One kind thing could make you feel more positive. Or what's one thing you can feel grateful for? That can really bring positivity in small steps and not feel like it's a really uncomfortable place. In our society, we seem to actually make busy almost something we should all be going for. It's almost like, well, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. It's almost a status thing.
Like a badge of honor.
That's right. The more busy I am, the better my life must be. When in fact, it's quite the opposite. So I talk to people about changing language around busy. So when somebody says, how are you? I coach people to say things like, my life's really full and I have lots of great things going on. And even though you haven't taken anything out, you just have a different perspective on it. The other thing I also encourage people to do is really think about all the commitments that you have, whether it's your kids or yourself or your family, and even work. What are the things that you absolutely love doing, and what are the things you like doing? And try and build your schedule around those things more than the things that feel like kind of a drag, because that's where feeling busy really starts to make more of an impact. Curiosity builds resilience because it allows us to look at a situation with a bigger perspective. So if we have something happen to us and we look at it in a really narrow way, we might only see the horrible negative things that have happened. And in fact, when that happens, then we actually become less resilient because all we're doing is focusing on the negative. When we broaden that and think in a more curious way, we might see, wow, you know what, that was a horrible thing that happened, but look what happened. I've grown, I've developed, and things have really moved forward. So that's where curiosity can build resilience. You know how that saying, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and that can impact you for an entire day or longer? What this is about saying, that's true, but instead of getting on the wrong side of the bed, I'm going to get up on the right side of the bed, or I'm going to shift and decide to be different. And that's where that inner reality can really shift how our lives are. It's so exciting to talk to somebody who has made a decision to shift their reality through the way that they think. And this isn't woo-woo stuff as much as it's, you know, if every time you have a negative thought, you decide to stop that thought and switch it to a positive somehow, just even switching it a little bit, you actually change the things that are happening inside, and that can change your life.